Hi, my name's Vicky. I've only been on 2 cruises in my life, and before I went, there were so many things that I didn't know. So I'm here to share with you everything that I learnt. So if you're a first-time cruiser, this is what you need to know. The first thing you need to do is download the cruise line app. So before you get on board, your cruise line will have an app that has all of the information that you need. Some cruise lines will use this as your check-in and like to load your boarding pass. So you'll load your passport onto there and all of your personal information. So it will generate a boarding pass for you. So and then it'll have like a QR code, so it's exactly like when you're boarding an airline and you have your boarding pass on your phone. The other thing on the app is it will have all of the deck plans, it'll have the information of where your stateroom is, the schedules for all of the entertainment and everything. So it's a really good way to get familiar with everything that's going to be on the ship that you're going to be sailing on before you get on board, so that you can plan out your sailing. Next, have everything ready to go when you're boarding. So you will have your boarding pass on the cruise line app, or however they provide that to you. You'll probably need your passport depending on where you're sailing. And when you go through, you'll scan those things and then go up the gangway and get onto the ship. The first thing you need to do is find your stateroom. So again, that cruise line app with the deck maps is going to be really handy. There's always heaps of people around that will direct you in the right direction, which lifts to go to, which side of the ship, all that kind of stuff. So find your stateroom, and depending on the cruise line, some cruise lines will use like a swipe card to get in. Some will have like a keyless entry with a fob, and others will even use the app and your mobile device to be able to get into your room. So as you're approaching, it should just unlock for you and you can go straight in. Speaking of your stateroom, when you get in there, the first thing you should do is open every drawer and door that you can find. It might not look like there are many storage compartments in your room, but cruise ships are designed so that everything is a storage compartment. It's actually quite impressive. So you might have, I recommend walking around and literally opening every drawer. Even if there's like a ledge on a wall, try and see if it opens, because the last cruise that I went on, I was on there for 2 days before somebody told me about this entire compartment that had all this stuff in it, like binoculars and things that, were actually really useful for your cruise, like a beach bag to take up to the pool deck, all that kind of stuff. So definitely go in, unpack. I also recommend unpacking everything so that it's not in your suitcase, hang up all your clothes, etc. And then when you're finished with your suitcase, don't just leave it on the floor so it's in the way. Beds on cruise ships are actually designed so they're high enough so that you can just roll your suitcase underneath. So it's completely out of the way, your couch, your floor, everything is clear and free to use. Another thing to do when you first get on board is to go for a wander and get your bearings on the cruise ship. Again, use the app, your deck plans to sort of find out where everything is and go for a walk. Some cruise lines will also have like all the fancy suites and different room categories and stuff open for viewing. This is a really good time to do that, particularly if you can select an early boarding time in the boarding process, because you'll get on board before there are too many people on there and wander around, and you can see different staterooms and stuff without too many people around. Those kind of activities, if they do have them open on sea days in particular, are really busy, so there'll be a constant stream of people going through. So if you do want to get in there and get some photos of, the most fancy suite on the ship, then I recommend, if you can, doing that as soon as you get on board. Another tip I have is to book your dining and your experiences as early as you can. Some cruise lines will give you the opportunity to pre-book these before you even board, so you don't miss out on specific restaurants, or if you want to get a spa treatment or something. Other cruise lines, you can view the schedule of sort of what's available, but you can't actually book until you get on board. So again, boarding early, and then if there is something that you want to do, heading straight there to book it. For example, if you want a massage or a spa treatment, that's a really good time to do that to make sure that you don't miss out. The other thing to note with spas, so for example, I sailed on Celebrity Beyond, and they actually offer, you can book spa treatments, but you can also book out a time to go to the spa so that you can use like the saunas, and all the different rooms and stuff like that as well without actually having to do a treatment. So there's lots of different options that you can choose from. Next up, plan your entertainment. So you'll have the schedule of entertainment in your app or, however it's provided to you by the cruise line. And I highly recommend looking and selecting which ones you actually do really want to see, because there's always overlaps in entertainment. So you might have something happening in the main theatre and then something happening in another venue at the same time. And if you do want to see both of them, I recommend checking what days those are on so that you can select which ones you see on which day, because otherwise you won't be able to see everything that you want to. Speaking of schedules, check the ship time and the Wi-Fi. So on your app, so I was with Celebrity, on the app it always has the ship time. So it doesn't matter whether you're going in and out of phone signal or anything where time zones might be different. The ship always operates on one time, which makes it really easy to figure out what time it is and what time entertainment and things are happening. The other thing there is make sure that you switch off your international roaming or switch your phone to airplane mode so that you're only using the Wi-Fi, because international roaming can be really expensive. Most ships will also offer a Wi-Fi package, so that's the cheapest way to do that. Or some of them, if you go with all-inclusive, that will be included for you as well. And don't forget the gym. All ships have a gym or a fitness center or something like that. And while you might think that cruising is all about the eating and the drinking, which of course it can be, a lot of cruise lines actually focus a lot on their sort of health and wellness offering as well. And some of them are really cool. So on Celebrity Beyond, the fitness center is actually at the bow of the ship, so just above the bridge. So you've got the most incredible view when you're working out. And there's also often classes available. So you could, book in to do a yoga class or a HIIT class or anything like that, which are really great options. Going back to the food, make sure you plan out your meals. Particularly if you're on a shorter cruise, this can actually be quite a challenge because there are so many different restaurants and food options on board. I highly recommend checking out exactly what you want to experience and then booking those in. A lot of the specialty restaurants also will only be open for lunch, or some of them only for dinner. So if you do want to see those, definitely book them in. But the other thing is, don't discount the main dining hall or buffet section, whatever the cruise line calls it, because this is actually a really great place to experience a whole range of cuisines. And for example, on Celebrity Beyond, absolutely everything on the cruise ship is made from scratch. And I mean everything. I've never seen so many different types of bread in my life, and all of them were made on board. And the pastries, every single day as well, there was different food. So at the curry station, for example, every day was a completely different curry. One day there was incredible seafood, another day there was, a whole like sashimi station, all these different things. So it's really important to plan out what you want, especially if you're like me and you're a foodie and that is really important to you. Then don't miss out, because otherwise you'll get to the last day of your cruise and realize that you didn't try everything that you wanted to. Next, check out the dress code and the theme nights before you get on board. Some cruise lines are more into this than others, but generally there might be like a formal night or a themed sort of dress up evening. And trust me, you don't want to be the only person on the ship that hasn't planned for that and got into it. It's so much fun, even if you're not really into dressing up stuff at home. It's a really great way to get involved and just enjoy the experience. My final tip is to pack clothes that don't need ironing. A lot of cruise lines don't have an iron or steamer, or they won't let you take them on board because they can be a fire hazard, though some of them do have them, so you might want to check with your cruise line before you go. But if you are like me and you do like wearing a lot of linen, then I highly recommend pre-ironing and folding your clothes before you leave home to minimize the creasing. When you get on board, hang them all up and sort of let the wrinkles fold out. And then if you do really need to, I found taking a de-wrinkle spray, which is essentially just fabric softener and water. Spray it on your clothes and then use the hairdryer, which will be in your room, to get out the final wrinkles. So those are the top tips that I learned as a first-time cruiser. I'd love to hear if you have any more. Please pop them in the comments below, and happy cruising.